Hi everyone, welcome back to Sports Kathi. I'm Rohit, and with me I have Karan. We're going to have a very quick, short, and crisp review of what happened at the IPL auction. There were a couple of records that was broken for the maximum, the highest purchase ever in an IPL, and also the teams came with the different objectives. Each had their own individual objectives because there were only small changes to be made. So we will go through the teams quickly and get a quick overview on what the teams have done and what we think were the key buys for each team. So we'll be going from south to north. So I'll start off with Chennai Super Kings. So in Chennai Super Kings, the key buys were mainly, where they actually spent the money mainly was on K. Gautam, the highest uncapped player in IPL history, and Moeen Ali for 7 crores. So these were the two big buys, and this actually shows that Chennai is going to be more of a game depending on spin attack. This does cover certain gaps in the Chennai team because Moeen Ali and Gautam are capable all-rounders, so they should be able to cover certain areas in the batting part, especially in the later middle order where Chennai did struggle a bit. So that's and one interesting buy I want to also mention about Chennai was Cheteshwara Pujara, because he is someone who has not played IPL for a few years now, but he put his name there in the IPL auction list and he has been bought by Chennai for 50 lakh rupees. So which I don't know whether he'll play any part, but it's interesting to know that he has been bought in. So that's about Chennai. So now moving up, we'll go to the Bangalore side. So now coming to Royal Challengers Bangalore, now that's a team I support. Coming to Bangalore, again, this time they splashed their money. They splashed their money big as usual. Again, I mean, this time they do it always. This time they splashed their money on Kyle Jamieson, 15 crore. Again, a player who is done not much for the international side in New Zealand, but then something I think would can be called a punt because they expect his bowling to come good in T20s. We have to wait and see. They spent 15 crores on him. They spent 14.25 crores on Glenn Maxwell. He was a big flop last year in the IPL, but what Bangalore is actually hoping for is that he comes good. These are the two big buys, but I want to touch upon two other interesting buys for me. That was Daniel Christian. He is about 35 plus now, I think 37 maybe. He was bought for 4.8 crores. Now, this is a very interesting buy. I don't expect him to be in the first 11, but he is someone who I find to be an able player who can come in and change a game. Him. The other player or other couple of mentions I want to do Sachin Baby and Mohammad Asruddin. Very unknown players, I would say, or at least in the main front of Indian lineup. Not players are very prominent, but these are two players I believe can help Bangalore team in simple way because by Bangalore has sold Aaron Finch, so they don't have an opener. Yes, Josh Phillip is there on the bench, but they don't have an Indian opener, and I think they're looking for an Indian opener to fit in Maxwell in the team. So Sachin Baby and Asruddin can fit in that opening slot, and I think that's where they'll be looking at to open with Devdutt Padikkal. So that's about Bangalore. Again, as I told you, the each team goes with their objectives, and Bangalore splashed the money. The next team I am going to is Hyderabad. Hyderabad was the right opposite. They did not splash the money. The biggest they spent in this edition was on Kedar Jadhav. That was 2 crore rupees, and they overall bought only 3 players, which is Mujibur Rahman and Suchit. So that means they had a core 11 or a core squad which they stuck on to because they were successful and they believe that they can continue their success, and they just put in key players here and there. Let's Kedar Jadhav, because they found that that number 5, number 6, or when the initial top order, the big top order of Hyderabad kind of fails, then they need to have a fail safe option, and they think that Kedar Jadhav experience can help that. So that is why they've gone for Kedar Jadhav, I believe. Mujibur Rahman for 1.5 crore for me is a steal, because he is someone, again, he can open the bowling. He's a spin bowler who can open the bowling, can give options to want to look into, because Jason Holder is the main overseas player in that middle order, or in the bowling department, other than Rashid Khan. So they can give, if the pitch is turning, Mujibur Rahman can be that player replacing Jason Holder. So that's a different alternative option. So that's about Hyderabad. Now let's go to the defending champions, Mumbai Indians. Coming to Mumbai Indians, they were very smart, I have to say, because they let loose of Cooter Nile, who's supposed to cost them 8 crore per year. They let loose of him and then got him back for 5 crores. Now that is smart. And for the remaining 3 crores, they went and got Adam Mill. So that means for the worth of 8 crores of Nathan Coulter-Nile, they got two players in Adam Mill and Nathan Coulter-Nile, which is smart auction, I would say. And they, again, just like as I mentioned for Hyderabad, Mumbai Indians had a very successful. They are the defending champions for a reason, so they have a very successful squad with them. They have very good core squad. So what they did was they just increased the bench strength here and there. So they got Kutanile, Adam Mill to buff up that pace bowling attack. They got Piyush Chawla, experienced bowler, who I think is someone, again, for a price of 2.4 crore is a steal, because he's an Indian player and he is versatile. That means he can be used to open the bowling also. So we might see that from Mumbai Indians time and again, that maybe Piyush Chawla, when he gets an opportunity, will open the bowling for them. So that's an interesting buy there. They had a few other buys. One player I just want to mention about here is Marco Anson. He's a South African bowler, pick 6'4" bowler. He was bought for the base price of 20 lakh rupees. And I know a lot of viewers here might not know about him. He is someone who was actually there in the South African squad for Pakistan. Yeah, so someone we can look forward to see what exactly he can offer. And the other popular mention, which everyone will be expecting when I talk about Mumbai Indians, is Arjun Tendulkar. Yes, he was taken by Mumbai Indians for the base price of 20 lakhs. He had a very, I would say, not much to talk about in this Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament, which happened recently. But we'll have to wait and see how good he is. And I believe, I really hope, he can come good, and he can, silence the critics. So that's pretty much from the Mumbai Indians. For rest of the teams, I hand over to Karan, and Karan, off to you.
Thanks, Rohit. That was a pretty good roundup. The first team I would like to start with would be KKR. I mean, it's very rare that you don't see KKR spending money on players because that's what they usually do, considering they bought Pat Cummins last time. But this time I think KKR had a definitive mind of who they wanted, and their biggest three buys I would say would be Shakibul Hassan, Ben Cutting, and Harbhajan Singh. With Shakibul Hassan, they've given that extra backup to Sunil Narayan, which they always had a problem with. And with Ben Cutting, he could either replace Andre Russell as well as Sunil Narayan, because those two players are pretty much the core. So I think that with that, I think Kolkata has done a good job and they have a very good squad now. And with the experience of Harbhajan Singh, it will help their overall spin heavy team. They move to Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan Royals have done something very extraordinary this auction because they've bought the most expensive player ever in IPL auction history. They bought Chris Morris for 16.25 crores, breaking the last record of 16 crores. That's actually a very good buy because he's a bowling all-rounder, and this entire IPL that's been the trend that if you're a bowling all-rounder, you will get picked up for a higher cost. So that was a very good buy. I feel giving them a solidity at number 7. The other good buy they had was Shivam Dube, because Shivam Dube is that perfect Indian middle order fit at number 5 and 6 for them. Because earlier they were struggling with Riyan Parag and Tewatia. I mean, Tewatia did do well, but sometimes having that little more solidity. With these buys, I think Rajasthan Royals have pretty much decided that what team they're going to go ahead with, because Sanju Samson is their captain and Steven Smith has been moved out, and Kumar Sangakkara is back. So with that, all that aspect, I think Rajasthan Royals have done a fantastic job. The next team I would want to discuss is the Delhi Capitals. Delhi Capitals, very similar to Mumbai Indians, they also had their playing 11 sorted because they were the finalists of last season. One of their, I would say, a steal buy would be Steven Smith. Even though I don't know where they're going to play him, but for 2.2 crores, he was a good buy. Tom Curran, again being a bowling all rounder, was their highest bid, but I don't know if he'll be starting all their games regularly. But nonetheless, he was a good buy. And I think Delhi Capitals uh, had decided they would only look for backup players because they have a solid 11. Keeping that in mind, I think Delhi Capitals have done a good job with having the right kind of foreign backup as well as Indian backups in the likes of Vishnu Vinod, who's a good wicketkeeper batsman, and M Siddharth, who was the hero, I would say, of the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy final, which helped Tamil Nadu lift the trophy. The last team I would like to move to is Punjab Kings, or as we would know them as Kings 11 Punjab, who recently changed their names. So Punjab Kings had the maximum budget in compared to all the 8 teams because they had released a lot of players, and from that perspective, they've done a lot of heavy buys. The three players I would say that stand out in this auction would be Jai Richardson, Riley Meredith, and David Malan. For Jai Richardson, they paid about 14 crores. I honestly feel that it'll give them the solidity at number 7, number 8, because he's also a fast bowling all rounder who can talk a few. Riley Meredith is again a Australian bowler who did well in the BBL. And considering that, I think Punjab Kings have gotten a good buy. I don't know if they'll be able to play him, considering that four foreign players. But I think he's also a good buy. He's in good form. But I feel the best buy they did with respect to money was David Malan, because he's number one. He's the T20 number one batsman in the world right now. So David Malan was a good buy. I think he's a perfect replacement for Chris Gale, just in case he doesn't get into form. So from that perspective, I think Punjab Kings have done a good job, and now I think they have a good core with respect to their batting, because I felt that the bowling was always good. I think with that we've covered all 8 teams. Uh, I would like to give it over to Rohit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much we can wrap it up here. Thank you, Karan, and that's pretty much the gist of what happened in the IPL auction. Let's look forward to when it starts. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.